Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
While the sentences today will never completely fill the void that these men carved into the hearts of these victims' families, I hope it at least helps them a little bit with the healing process. I hope they can find solace ultimately in the fact that these men will never breathe free air again.
It is the worst human smuggling tragedy in U.S. history. 53 people found dead or dying near a semi-trailer off of San Antonio Road. Today, a judge coming down hard on two of the men involved in the Quintana Road smuggling operation 3 years ago today. On June 27, 2022, authorities found 67 migrants inside a sweltering and outside that sweltering semi-truck. 53 people lost their lives, one of them a pregnant woman. Flash forward to today, and Armando Gonzalez Ortega, a coordinator in the human smuggling ring, sentenced to just over 87 years in prison. Felipe Ordonez Torres, one of the leaders of the organization, sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. More individuals involved have since taken plea deals. We do know the driver of that tractor trailer will be sentenced in December. He is also facing up to life in prison. Creating a way to remember those 53 victims and an unborn baby has been the priority of San Antonio's Southwest Side community. This memorial, created in the aftermath of that tragedy, has endured both theft and vandalism. And tomorrow it will be the center of a vigil. The Night Team's Avery Everett shows us the neighborhood effort to honor those victims and address immigration concerns across our city.
We replaced all the flowers, all the cans.
New flowers after another year.
We went ahead and put the rosaries back on there.
And community members say they're far from finished with this memorial.
It's just so sentimental, trying to pray for these souls here.
How often do you come out here to the memorial?
Tell you the truth, almost every day.
These 53 crosses symbolize the lives lost in the Quintana Road tragedy 3 years ago, and it's still considered the deadliest case of human smuggling in U.S. history.
Sad. It's what happened with this situation here when they come over here for a better life.
Angelita Olvera leads the community effort to keep this memorial standing, and on Saturday, she's helping to plan a vigil to honor the victims.
Hopefully we have a lot of people to join us. We need to join together and pray.
Starting at 8 a.m., she says people will walk from St. Joseph's Church on New Laredo Highway to Quintana Road. Others are invited to wait at the memorial site, with prayer scheduled to start at 10 a.m.
The stage is set at the center of this memorial. It's obviously empty here now, but organizers hope a crowd comes Saturday morning. Their only concern is that immigration tactics being used by the federal government may keep people away.
Today was them, tomorrow it might be us, the way the situation is in this country right now.
Just 3 months ago, this memorial was badly vandalized.
So you can still see the remnants of what happened.
They're not going to stop us.
Perseverance in the face of the past.
We pray for these souls.
A community coming together, marking 3 years and remembering those who passed. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Now to basically a neighborhood terrorized. It was a story we were all over yesterday, and tonight we have new information. We've learned more about a standoff that involved 3 suspected car burglaries. Adrian Hernandez, Oscar Carvajal, both 19 years of age, and 18-year-old Lincoln Mertens arrested on a laundry list of charges. They were trying to steal a car on the west side yesterday when they were caught. They were responsible for a car break-in earlier that morning in the same neighborhood. They were confronted by the owner of the vehicle, but the 3 pulled out weapons and then took off. The 3 suspects chased by police all the way to a home on Westland Drive. That led to a standoff with SWAT team members. Roads all around this area shut down. Eventually, police were able to arrest Hernandez and Carvajal, who were inside that home. Mertens arrested after a second short car chase. The 3 faced several charges, including aggravated robbery, vehicle burglary, evading arrest, unlawfully carrying a weapon, and tampering with evidence. A second arrest has been made in connection with the deadly shooting of a 19-year-old on East Commerce Street. Veronica Montoya arrested yesterday for tampering with evidence. According to arrest records, Montoya sold the bike that the murder suspect, Mark Criollo, allegedly used to leave the murder scene on June 22nd. Criollo was arrested after a 12-hour standoff.
Back here is where I first saw it and saw all this flooded. There was a dumpster and definitely cars all over the place. Yeah, not a very good scene to see.
A warning before this next story. The video you're about to see is disturbing. 2 weeks later, we're getting a new viewpoint of the unforgiving floodwaters that claimed lives and destroyed roads and property along Bidle Creek. Surveillance camera video from June 12th on a business building around Bidle Creek caught this. Cars, pickup trucks, just being swept away, washed away as if they were nothing. As new video resurfaces, a grieving community hoping new insight will come as well to hopefully keep deadly flooding like this from ever happening again. It wasn't just Bidle Creek that was hit during the rain events 2 weeks ago. Tonight, we're taking you into two neighborhoods connected by Marbach Road. Houses shifted in street water with nowhere to go. These are the problems West Side neighborhoods are facing even after that flooding has receded. As the Night Team's Avery Everett shows us, problems are still pouring in, even on a sunny day like today.
It's a hazard, it's a mess, and it takes a lot of time.
This is not the morning routine the Martinez family expected when they moved into a new home just 3 months ago.
This is like a normal day in the neighborhood.
After it rains, Jose Martinez grabs his broom and brushes standing water into a completely dry drain.
It wasn't made properly, it's uneven, and therefore it's not draining the way it should be.
Jose and Carol call this a health hazard. And this puddle on Pemberton Road reveals a bigger neighborhood problem. Infrastructure that just can't handle water.
They never fix it, now it's been 3 months.
And they're not alone on the west side. A short drive on Marbach Road leads to a similar problem.
Like I said, when it rains, the water still all comes inside. My mom's been here like 27 years, I think.
And has flooding always been a problem?
Yes.
Ernest Garza lives on Adams Hill Drive. Photos show years of flooding, and he says his house today shows years of impact.
I'm afraid my house is gonna slide over to the next block over there. That's how much water we get here.
Twice on this street, the city has tried to fix the issue. Ernest snapped these pictures showing higher curbs and a taller driveway, but he says it hasn't done enough.
We still have the problem.
The city says it recognizes new underground drainage is needed here, but a spokesperson for Public Works says they still need to fund it. As far as the water pooling on Pemberton Road, Bexar County says repairs should be made in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
So what has been your everyday reality then?
Having to worry about when it's going to get filled.
Neighbors say they're waiting for answers, hoping the city and county sweep to a solution soon. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Sweeping away floodwaters. Well, we'll keep on top of that story. New on the Nightbeat. A scary scene playing out at a McDonald's restaurant earlier today where a man found severely injured, leaving a trail of blood behind. It all happened at a McDonald's at Loop 410 in Vance Jackson. San Antonio police believe that man was either shot or stabbed before he even got to the McDonald's restaurant. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. At this hour, there have been no reports of any suspects. It's a troubling trend that only seems to be getting worse. For the second time in as many days, a female inmate from the Bexar County Jail has died. 27-year-old Adriana Lastra actually passed away yesterday, 3 days after a jailer's attempt to stop her suicide at the jail's annex. The jailer, facility medical staff, firefighters treated her. She was then taken to a hospital where she later died. A second female inmate, Joanna Hines, died Wednesday. Sheriff's officials said Hines had been experiencing drug withdrawal issues. Records compiled by KSAT Investigates show 7 Bexar County Jail inmates have died so far this year. A trial date has been set for a former San Antonio police officer accused of shooting teenager Eric Gantu inside a car at a McDonald's parking lot. Former officer James Brennan set to stand trial on October 17th. That's also when the jury selection is scheduled to begin. You may remember we've reported this trial has already been delayed once because of issues with evidence. Brennan was fired after the incident. He faces life in prison if found guilty in this shooting. A big decision from the United States Supreme Court ruling today that states can enforce age verification practices for online pornography. That case stemming from a Texas law, the adult entertainment industry challenging that Texas law, claiming it violates free speech. That's protected by the Constitution. In the end, the law was defended 6-3. So now companies found violating the age verification requirements will be fined $10,000 a day and $250,000 if a child is exposed to pornographic content due to not properly verifying a user's age. With recent conflicts in the Middle East, the United States on alert for the potential of cyber attacks. There haven't been any specific threats thus far, but a professor at UTSA says it's better to not take any chances. These are the tips he provided for people here in Texas to protect themselves. He says we should all keep our operating systems up to date. He said systems should have security, like an antiviral software involved. He also says making sure your passwords are complex, different, and difficult to break are important in preventing any kind of cyber hack. And while he says it's more likely possible threats would be targeted at public infrastructure or the private sector, he says it all depends on what unfolds between Iran, Israel, and the United States.
I suspect the extent to which we're going to see cyber attacks against the U.S. will depend upon the actual damage that was done to the Iranian nuclear sites.
That professor also warning people to keep an eye out for disinformation online. He says there's also the possibility that deepfakes or media edited using AI could be disseminated during this time of conflict in the Middle East.
That's the whole thing right there. That one guy symbolizes the U.S. Army.
It is a monument built for those who put their lives on the line 50 years ago in Vietnam. Next on the Nightbeat, we're going to show you the Vietnam War statue that now stands in San Antonio, its significance, and some of the things you might not notice right offhand from this video. We're going to hear from some of the veterans who talk about the special meaning behind the monument. Wrapped in the Stars and Stripes, a tribute to the American military grunt. This new monument now stands near 1604 and Northwest Military Highway. It is dedicated to those who served in the Vietnam War. This project, more than a year in the making. I looked up the definition of grunt. It can be defined as a infantryman, a regular Joe of low rank. But I like this definition better. Someone who did their military duty and more to the best of their ability. This statue depicts a soldier on the front lines. There's even bamboo behind him. I don't know if you saw that, serving his country proudly. It stands 50 years after the fall of Saigon, and a number of San Antonio Vietnam veterans showed up for today's unveiling.
I look around, all of them are my brothers. They're my brothers. Heartfelt. So have them show up. This is in honor of them, not Mike Lind. Not like Mike Lind's statue or Mike Lind's museum. It's actually the brotherhood of the Army grunt.
It's like a healing event for each veteran, okay? But for different reasons, because we all served, we all had different experiences, but that's the beauty of the Vietnam veteran.
The monument stands outside the Lind Building, home to the Vietnam Army Grunt Museum, which is free and open to the public. You can actually learn more about what's inside. Just go to KSAT.com and search Grunt Museum. It's quite a statue there, too. And I wanted to point out the bamboo behind.
Yeah.
Because I think it just adds to exactly what the men and women that's meant to memorialize.
And a lot of detail in it, too.
Yeah.
Looks like more detail than some of the others that I've seen out there. Just attention to detail.
I'm loving the forecast.
You know, you compare it to this time last year, we were, hitting triple digits at times.
Yes.
This year, I mean, we're talking low to mid 90s. We were a degree above average this afternoon at 94. But I do want to talk about a few things that we'll be watching and paying close attention to going forward. First of all, the rain, mainly just pop-up afternoon coastal showers, making it to Hallettsville, Gonzales, maybe Seguin, possibly Floresville, slight chance San Antonio. But what we're really watching for is a little extra Gulf moisture and rain-making energy that's down in the Yucatan Peninsula. And we're just watching it because it gives us a slight chance of higher rain chances around the middle of next week. So notice a 10 to 20% chance all the way through Wednesday. Then next Thursday, we have up to 30% because of that slight chance that we could have a little extra lift in our atmosphere and a little just more ingredients to help cause a little more coverage on the radar screen. That's basically what it would be. So here's a tropical satellite, and I want to point out this cluster of storms, very unorganized, over the Western Caribbean, now over the Yucatan Peninsula. It's headed into the Southern Gulf. Hurricane Center has it at a 30% chance of developing into a tropical depression or tropical storm. It's not going to have a lot of time really over the Southern Gulf to develop. So it's that low end chance of actually turning into a system. More than anything, what I'm watching is the saturated air with it, very deep tropical moisture and potentially some rain-making energy move into south central Texas toward late Wednesday and on into Thursday. So that's why we could have slightly higher rain chances or even just slightly increased coverage of rain on the radar at that point. Now, as for overall potential, it's still not looking significant, even if this did completely play out and overperform. I mean, we're talking maybe an inch in some spots, but of course, it's early, and we'll keep an eye on it for you and let you know what we modify as we go forward. But look at some of the heaviest rainfall in the days ahead, likely in western Mexico and even other parts of the Gulf coastline. So far this year, 19.05 inches of rainfall at the airport, and that's 3.26 inches above average. Still, of course, in the extreme and exceptional drought because the groundwater just isn't where it needs to be. The aquifer is too low, stream flows are low, and of course the reservoirs and lakes are low. Okay, you've heard about the Saharan dust lately. It's going to be moving in late weekend, and especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'll notice a light to moderate haze in the sky, and the only impact would be more vibrant sunrises and sunsets. The primary plume and the thicker part of the dust is likely to stay east of us. You see Sunday in a little bit. I don't even think you'll notice it. We get into Monday, you might notice a little extra haze, definitely on Tuesday, but especially closer to Houston, Hallettsville, and places basically between San Antonio and Houston. That dusty haze will be a little more noticeable. Again, I don't anticipate any problems from this. It's nothing to worry about. And then it moves out. It just gives you the more vibrant sunrises and sunsets. So today, 94, 1 degree above the average high of 93. And look at the record. This just gives you our potential this time of year. 105, set back in 1980. 76 at sunrise, 86 at noon, 94 the high temperature tomorrow. So really more of the same temperature-wise. The low clouds early at sunrise and then nothing but sunshine. Castroville 95 tomorrow. Comfort and Kerrville 93 along with Seguin. And then Sunday, basically, it's just a repeat performance. A slightly better chance, and we're talking up to 20% chance of some of those coastal showers making it into Bexar County or closer to San Antonio. 4th of July, right now we have a 20% chance of a rogue shower. Nothing to worry about, and otherwise partly cloudy, 92. I mean, it could be 100 or more on 4th of July. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it means it's going to be down in the 80s come fireworks time.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. That's the idea anyway.
Yep.
All right, the Spurs, 2 rookies that they just drafted, they seem to like each other.
They do, and they've known each other for 4 or 5 years now, meeting on the AAU circuit. They became good friends after starting off as friendly enemies, I guess, on the court. They are excited to be here, and you're going to hear from both of them about Harper being the top pick ever at Rutgers and Bryant wanting to promote the deaf community out there. And Daryl Johnston talks about the importance of the Brahmas hosting a football camp here in town. Coming up. Check out Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper in their icy whites, sporting their jersey numbers. Bryant wore number 11 and Harper number 2. Both guys are very happy these days after getting drafted by the San Antonio Spurs. Harper second overall and Carter 14th overall. Wednesday night at the Barclays Center, Harper, who set the Rutgers freshman record with 564 points last season, is the highest pick in Scarlet Knights history.
Dang. I mean, it's definitely exciting, grateful, and just, I think me and my fellow Ace Bailey, I think we took a chance on Rutgers. I think me and him could have got probably the best experience we could have got out of it, just from the standpoint of just the highs and lows and just the great people taking care of us. And I feel like the Spurs is definitely just like that, with just a different level, next level, just great people around and a great organization. So, I mean, it's amazing.
Brian is a grandchild of deaf adults and learned how to sign before he could talk. The first words he signed was ball per the University of Arizona. Brian loves to bring awareness to the deaf community and plans to use the NBA stage to further his cause.
No, definitely. I think I just want to bring more attention to whatever organization I was blessed to be drafted by. But obviously, San Antonio just has a rich history of having a lot of intention behind everything they do. But I don't think my mentality towards it changes in terms of the deaf community. It's something that's always going to be important to me and always has been important to me. But, I mean, I had my family, the Valencia Biscupiacs, up in the crowd, and I saw them when I was going to do my interviews, and I looked up and they were all up there signing "I love you." So I'm more than grateful for them and just everything they've taught me.
Harper and Carter will meet with the San Antonio media tomorrow morning at The Rock, followed by a live Q&A on the main stage on the Frostbank Plaza from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yesterday, the San Antonio Brahmas held a free football clinic at Heroes Stadium as part of a league-wide UFL initiative to grow the game and support young athletes across all 8 league markets. The camp featured UFL Executive Vice President of Football Operations and former Dallas Cowboy Daryl Johnston, San Antonio Brahmas interim head coach Peyton Pardee, and tight end Steven Stilianos, along with UFL staff and additional players. Doing this camp is key in part because the Brahmas and the UFL are based in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I think everybody asks, hey, when are you going to be in market full time? That's when we're going to have that connection. So that's a ways off. That's things that we've talked about. For us right now, it makes more sense for us to be centrally located up in DFW and then travel to our games. So anything we can do to create those connections, whether it's in season, out of season, it's only going to help us once we get to the time of year where we're playing some football. So, we hope that a lot of people remember, hey, that was awesome. Back in June when we had that camp down here at Heroes Stadium. Let's go out and let's try a Brahmas game and see what it's like. So, hopefully, that's something that's a reciprocal payback from the fans and the families here today.
Nearly 400 student athletes in grades 5 through 12 attended 2 different camps. They had a flag football clinic and a football skills clinic. And Johnson said a couple of girls signed up for the flag camp. Brahmas interim head coach Peyton Pardee knows doing this in the Alamo City is huge.
I think it means the world, not only to us as far as myself and some of our players, but I think it's critical for us to be able to get around, everybody of all age groups, but especially, having an opportunity to be able to work with young student athletes and work on skills and fundamentals is an invaluable experience, for ourselves as well as this community. And, for me, it's a special opportunity to be out here today because the city of San Antonio means everything to myself and to our football program. And what the city's done as far as support for us over the past 3 years has been nothing but spectacular. So this is a pleasure on our end.
The Dallas Mavericks introduced Cooper Flagg after the break.